on NBSI. Select a teammate. There we go. So the first game will be Exel versus Cointer. There we go. There we go, guys. The game will be starting in 30 seconds. Again, sorry about the delay. So we will first of all see 4 sets of 1v1s. A team needs to win 3 out of the 4 to gain the first point in the match. If it is a tie, so each team wins 2 duels, it will go into a tiebreaker 1v1 where they will play one more 1v1. There we go, guys. So again, this is simulator. So while we get a nice third-person view, the guys in the planes will not. So please be aware of that. But you'll see the planes react quite nicely, because this is a simulator. Planes will stall out, and they will fall to the ground. As we can see, guys, Contia versus Exel, NBSI versus Wolfe. The first 1v1. In a 1v1, guys, they have to cross over each other, so you'll see the 2 planes pass each other first. Once we see the other plane, he must be in front of us somewhere. There he is. There. So you can see that there are no markers. Once they get a little closer, we will get markers. Until then, neither guy will have markers, they will be in cockpit. Most of them using joysticks and track IR to give them as big of an advantage as possible. As we discussed yesterday, both guys, simulator players, want to climb rather than realistic guys that seem to stay a little bit close to the ground. First shot's fired. No hits. And guys, you have to remember that they are flying in exactly identical planes. So whatever one plane can do, the other plane can also do, using landing flaps to try and get as much lift as possible. Trying to really get as much turning as possible. Oh, wow. Now, even if he can get the fire to stop, that plane is most definitely not getting up. As I said, guys, right at the beginning, the 20mm cannons are very powerful. That was a basic one-shot and absolutely wrecked that plane. And the Yak-1B is not, you know, it's not a fragile plane, but those cannons very powerful. So the first game, or the first round, will be 1-0 to Wolfe. That was actually a very quick game for a simulator game. Most simulator games at least go for 10-20 minutes. Obviously they know they are behind time, so they're trying to make the games nice and quick. And there is our victory. Yeah, guys, that is 1-0 to Team Wolfe. They just now need to win another 2 1v1s to gain the first point in the set. Again, guys, do not expect all the simulator games to be that fast, because it is very difficult for the pilots to see each other, to control the planes. I mean, the Yak has quite a nice cockpit, much nicer than, say, the BF-109. I much prefer the cockpit of the Yak. So we will see Mobius going up against Miggelson. Alrighty then. So this is the second 1v1, guys. Again, they will be flying the Yak, and again, they will have to do a crossover. We will also take personal taste when talking about the cockpit. I quite like the cockpit. It might be because I get quite a nice rear view. Whereas in the BF-109 it is a little harder to see out the rear of the plane. So we are now following Mickelson. Again, you'll see them pass over each other. Both guys climbing quite, well, not really sharply, but at quite a decent angle. Obviously trying to gain as much altitude as possible. That way they have a nice sort of height to use. There is the crossover. So now they can start shooting each other. I'm surprised Mickelson didn't use his flaps to try and get over nice and quickly. Mobius using those flaps to try and get as much lift as possible. You can just hear the flaps constantly changing position from landing to probably combat, maybe even takeoff. Most sim pilots have every type of flap, different type of flaps set to different keys so they can instantly change between them. Mobius now on the tail of Mickelson. I don't believe he got any hits on. It doesn't look like it. I feel like if he had though, that would have probably have critted the wing of the plane. Again, lots of flap usage to try and get as much lift, and also help slow the plane down to maybe overshoot their opponent. Because obviously they are an identical plane, so they've got to try and use tactics rather than the plane's individual traits. I mean, really trying to get each other to overshoot each other. But maybe it's sticking behind him. Mobius again getting a few shots off. Again, no luck with the hits. You can just hear the throttle going down, trying to probably get him to overshoot. They're getting pretty close to the ground now. Again, this is what I'm talking about with the different terrain of this map compared to the other map. You've obviously got mountains to compete with, a few extra trees. He's easily going to come out of that. I was worried he was going to hit the ground there. Just like yesterday, as Scream said, they are pretty much dancing. Oh, is that a pilot snipe? That is the pilot snipe. Very nice job there, Mobius. So now that evens the score. Again, just showing just how powerful those 20mm cannons really are. Being able to just one-shot the guy. Gotta watch out. A ram would class as a draw. Neither team would get a point. And a bit of aerobatic smoke. There we go, guys. That is now 1 point each. So now one team needs to win the next two to be able to claim the point. If it is a draw, we will see another 1v1. Again, guys, as you saw, that game went a little bit longer than the previous one. Not as long. I mean, that's nowhere near the longest 1v1 duel we saw. Yesterday was very long. It was nearly 10, 20 minutes, I think. The plane really did not want to die. Team Black did an excellent job of keeping that plane in the air. Even though it was critted, kept on going. So these games can go on quite some time. But the dancing is very nice, as somebody said. It's like dancing with bullets and steel. As we wait for the guys to ready up. As we get ready for the next dance. We should start calling it the Dance of Death. Again, guys, the way the planes are picked is that there are 9 planes, and they eliminate 8 of them to get 1 plane left. That will be the plane that both teams fly. It's to really, it's so that they can't use the plane, because if it was, I don't know, something like a BF-109 versus a Spitfire, that would be a little unfair, seeing as though both planes kind of have to stay close to each other. You can't just run away from your opponent. So if you were to, say, pick a plane that was superior in speed, and you could just run forever, that's not what it's about. It's more about trying to use identical planes and then using skill. Plus, it's, you know, it is a good way of stopping people going, well, that plane's more powerful than this plane, for example. If they're in identical planes, then you can't complain. So we've got Sony Bite versus Mashariga. I'm very sorry about murdering people's names. This is where we usually use Scream to say the names, because if he gets them wrong, I can at least giggle at him. So again, guys, using flaps to try and get as much lift and or to slow the plane down to try and get their opponent to overshoot. I mean, having landing flaps to try and get as much lift as possible. I'm just waiting for one of them to start diving towards the ground. No, they're going to stay nice and high in the air. And you can just see the planes just almost stalling out every time they try and do a maneuver. Pushing these planes to their absolute limits. Again, guys, these are the final 8. So the last 16 teams, 8 from west, 8 from east, going up against each other. So these guys are pretty much the best of the best. They have gone up and fought against a lot of people. They've at least beat, the west teams have definitely beaten at least 100 teams to be here. So this is no small feat. Especially in Simulator, where they are very competitive. Oh, the first shot's off, and he has damaged the engine, it looks like. You can see the smoke coming out. I think he also got a few shots on the wing. No shots on the wing. He's going to lose a little bit of engine power there, and the engine is going to start to die. Although the Yak has a very good engine, it seems to go quite a long time, even when a fuel leak, or even an oil or coolant leak has happened. Plane's still flying quite nicely though, despite the damage. Still got landing flaps out. These guys must be going around 150, even less than that maybe. Otherwise the landing flaps would probably just snap off. You can hear him just changing the flaps as he goes into a dive so he doesn't snap the wings off, the flaps off, sorry. Those are combat flaps. And I feel like he's kind of put himself in a bit of a easy position for NBSI to shoot him out of the sky. He was a bit too far forward. Dived a little too hard. Ooh, almost a ram. But again, another pilot snipe. And down we go. But that is now 2-1. There we go, guys. NBSI now taking the lead. 2-1. So you guys, if you ever wondered, the Yak is the happiest plane in the game. You can see the little smile there. Some very good flying by both teams. So now if NBSI wins this next 1v1, they will take the first point in the series. If Wolfe can win this one, they will tie it up, and there will be a 5th 1v1. A tiebreaker 1v1. So we've got Flinks versus Hanzo Hattori for the final game. Again, guys, we will see the 1v1. Both teams will need to cross over each other. The rules change only slightly for the 2v2s. Regarding the fact that there are now 2 people in the game. 4 people in the game. As you just wait for everybody to spawn in. If ARAM was to happen in this situation, NBSI would still win because they have the majority of the points. Wolfe needs to shoot down the NBSI plane and stay in the air. Bit of a weird camera angle. Okay. There is a restart, guys.
We suffered a defeat. Head back to base.
Somebody is obviously disconnected. Or not connected. Alright guys, soon as there is a quick 2-minute break, I'm going to show you another video. This is of the kind sponsors of the tournament, Rocat. So I hope you enjoy the video, and we will be right back in 2 minutes.
Meet the Rocket Tie-On, featuring the brand new Rocket Accelerator analog thumb paddle, giving you unrivaled command capabilities. The new Rocket Fin Switch, letting you execute multiple maneuvers at the same time. 4 ergonomic top buttons, instinctively placed so that you can hunt for prey, not for buttons. Meet the new standard in gaming mouse control.
Yeah, guys, while we unfortunately have some technical issues, if anybody has any quick questions about how the tournament is laid out, such as how they pick planes, how the points work, anything like that, quickly ask those while we wait. They seem to be playing on a 2v2 dueling map. Yes, on Clifted Coast. It's called a duel. It's the duel version. Yeah, guys, unfortunately somebody's joystick isn't working. I know for the East and West, when they were individual tournaments, there was Golden Eagles, Hacks, and a few other special goodies. I believe for this one, because it's, you know, the top 8, I believe Rocat is sponsoring the prizes. Yeah, unfortunately, guys, sorry about the issues. There we go. The joystick is now fixed and we are ready to go. Get back into the game. NBSI versus Wolfe. Hanzo versus Flinks. Unfortunately, I can't see the fighter in the cockpit view. Unfortunately, I'm only spectating. Unfortunately. So again, guys, as this is the 1v1, they do need to cross over each other. Hanzo deciding to not climb, unlike in the previous game where we saw both guys starting to climb. Also, Flinks deciding to dive as well. Now that the crossover has happened, they can now start shooting at each other. Always the most exciting part. Hanzo most definitely having the height advantage. Flinks trying to get up there with him. I feel like he's going to use up a lot of momentum trying to get up there, making him a little bit vulnerable. Again, being in identical planes, they should be able to obviously climb at the same speed, turn at the same speed. So it's really how they use flaps and maneuvers to try and outsmart their opponent. I believe combat flaps there to try and get just a little bit more lift and turning. Is Hanzo using any flaps? Yes, he's using landing flaps to try and keep that plane in the air. Trying to gain as much lift as possible. Hanzo now in a very dangerous position. Flinks looks like he's using stealth ammo. I believe I heard some firing, but I didn't see any traces. Yeah, there we go. I believe he is using stealth rounds. Which I feel is rather brave, given that this is simulator and not being able to see exceptionally well. You would want to use tracers to be able to see where the bullets are going. But obviously using tracers means that the opponent can see where you're shooting from. Obviously using stealth, not going to have the clearest of ideas of where you're shooting from, other than the fact that there are bullets hitting his plane. Almost a ram there. Again, bringing out combat flaps to try and get as much lift and turning as possible. Obviously, Flinks is not giving up on this advantage, on this tail. Really sticking to him. Trying to scissor now. Trying to get the guy to overshoot. Can he do it? Link's plane is starting to lose a little bit of momentum here. Hanzo in a very good position here. A little bit of control there. Link's now back on the tail of Hanzo, and this is what I'm talking about. When it comes to simulator, the games go on a little bit longer because obviously controlling the planes is a little bit harder. I feel like those stealth rounds are letting him down slightly because I feel like he could have got a few hits off. Still don't hear any or see any hits. I hear a lot of shells, but not a lot of shots, not a lot of contact. Oh no, there we go. There is a little bit of damage to the left aileron. Oh no. Trees. Manages to dodge them, but that plane is not in a very good position right now. That left aileron now damaged. I don't think he's really in any position to really keep fighting Flinks, unfortunately. But I think this could become a tie. Meaning that we will see a 5th 1v1. Unless, obviously, Hanzo can pull it out of the bag. But, I mean, he's finding it seems really hard to turn. You can see that aileron really messing up the plane. Fortunately, no hits there. Blinks now also has just a height advantage, so he's just going to be able to just basically boom and zoom onto his opponent. Hanzo not going down though, he's just going to keep flying this plane. Yes, the current scores are 2-1 to NBSI. Obviously, whoever wins this, it will either be a win for NBSI or it will become a tiebreaker for Wolfe. Again, guys, we have the luxury of having little indicators. They obviously won't have such a luxury. Getting really close to this mountain. And the water. This is what I do quite like about this map, is that you also have to be quite wary of the terrain. So that does mean, guys, that it is now even Stevens once again. So we will see a 5th 1v1, a tiebreaker scenario. Who will actually win the first point? I think this is the first tiebreaker scenario that we've streamed. It's not something that happens a lot. Normally you see either a really decisive victory or, you know, rather close, you know, being 3-1. It's not very often you see 2-2 in 1v1 scenarios. But it has happened. So I predict Mobius is going to be one of the pilots going out. And I'm going to say for Wolfie's team... There we go, guys. The Arbiter's confirming what I've just said. I mean, Flink's just won his game, so I don't think they're going to take him out again. You know, give him a little bit of a rest. But, yep, there we go. Mobius is going out. Sony Bite. So it is Sony Bite versus Mobius. I do feel like Mobius is probably their best pilot on the NBSI team. So it's not surprising that he is being brought out once again. I think there has been quite a few situations where Mobius has been brought up into these situations, and he does normally deliver. But let's not underestimate Sony, seeing as though this is the final 8. So these teams are very good. Very, very good. They've had to fight at least 120 other teams from both the East and the West. So So as we wait for the two teams to spawn in, again, this is still 1v1. We still have to watch them cross over. They cannot shoot until they have crossed over. This is also a simulator. Whoever wins this will get the first point in the series. The 2v2 being worth 2 points, and the 4v4 is worth 3 points. As we discussed yesterday, the love heart on the left-hand side of the plane, the little Mickey Mouse symbol, I guess. We saw, I think it was 306 sporting the red heart on his plane as well. And as we discussed yesterday, it gave him 100% win rate, so will it happen again for the NBSI team? Is the love heart a very good tactic? We will see. Mobius deciding to climb. Sony doesn't look like he's climbing. It looks like he's diving. Has he not seen where Mobius is? Or is he going to climb yet? Go into a sharp climb now. But Mobius has already got that height advantage. I don't think Sony's going to be able to put the nose of the plane all the way up high enough. No, he doesn't. Is he going to stall out, though, before getting behind Mobius? No, he manages to hold it. No. Nope. Trying to use landing flaps to try and get lift off this plane. Don't think it's going to work. Mobius now, I feel, in a very, very good position with his extra momentum since he climbed earlier. Listen to the control of the flaps going crazy. Trying to push this plane to its absolute limit. Get every ounce of lift, speed, control out of the plane as he possibly can to try and get on the tail of Mobius. I feel like Sony is turning tighter in the turns. At some point I feel like he is going to be behind Mobius. Can he get the plane up and over? Almost. Just a little bit further. Nope. It is very close though. He is almost getting there. Just a little bit more and I feel like he could have got some quite nice easy shots on Mobius. Potentially damaging the plane. Critting it. But unfortunately it was not to be. Yes, Mobius is NBSI. Sony just not quite getting the turn in to be able to shoot Mobius. Mobius just always just slightly out of his gun sights. Only slightly. First shot's fired. Oof. Almost. I feel like that could have been a nice easy pilot snipe. But again, as somebody discussed in chat, the Yak doesn't have the greatest of front cockpits, not being able to see very well from the front of the plane. So he might not have been able to have seen his opponent very easily. That's why he didn't shoot straight away. Obviously, guys, this is a simulator, so they are in cockpits. So it is very difficult to see out of the plane. No crits, damages, or hits just yet. And I mean, the Yak doesn't have, it doesn't have a lot of ammo. I think it's only 120 rounds. So Sony needs to be careful. I mean, he hasn't sprayed, but he's got 3 or 4 good bursts off. He does want to be careful. I mean, that 50 cal isn't exactly a weak armament, but not as good as the 20s. Oh no, Mobius! Doing some quite serious engine damage there, as you can see the engine now smoking. But as we discussed a little earlier, that the Yak is rather good at flying even with engine damage. Only now in a very strong position. Mobius just needs any kind of damage onto Sony. Mobius just needs to lift the nose just a little bit. Oh, unfortunately doesn't get it. And now with that engine damage, I just don't think he's going to be able to climb. Again, guys, this is Mobius for NBSI, and Wolfe is Sony Byte. Only now using his nice advantage of the fact that his engine is not damaged. Use that speed and that momentum. After engaging, climbing out, getting a height advantage once again. Staying quite nicely on the tail of Mobius. Probably using flaps as well to try and really stay behind him. There we go, yep. Landing flaps to really keep his speed down so he doesn't overshoot. I think he's run out of cannons. Is Mobius going to do the attrition tactic? Make the guy run out of bullets before you do. Unfortunately, I do not have an ammo counter, guys. But as I said, the Yak doesn't have a lot of cannon rounds. 120 for one cannon. Quite a lot. But it is only one cannon, and he has been spraying quite a bit. Here we go, you see Sony climbing now. Try and just be able to nice and easily dive on his opponent. Mobius trying to climb, but I feel like that engine being so damaged, not being able to just get the same momentum, climb rate as his opponent. But I mean, Sony is running out of ammo. So at some point he's going to have to use his plane up against the other plane. I'm not sure what the rule is once people run out of ammo. But I mean, it can't be much longer. I mean, there's quite a lot of 50 cal rounds. I don't think it's going to be any time soon. And we can see that now the left wing of Mobius is damaged. The engine doesn't sound too good either. I believe the engine is starting to lose power. Mobius trying to keep the plane in the air for as long as possible. But it does look like it's a little one-sided at the moment. I would really like to know how much ammo he does have left. Maybe his engine has stopped smoking. That's not a good sign. That probably means that all the coolant has probably gone from its plane. So now the engine is going to start overheating very quickly. I mean, we can hear that he's not throttling up as much as, let's say, Sony. You can hear that Sony's engine is very loud. I mean, he could have throttled down, but I feel like that's just because the engine is losing power. Sony really being conservative with his rounds now. He must be getting low. Again, I feel like Mobius is just now trying to ram Sony. Or trying to get a ram off. I must say, as I said, the Yak's engine does go a long time before it will fall out of the sky and just give up. It doesn't mind overheating. It is a very resilient engine. Here we go, Sony. With very few rounds left. Poor Mobius. His left wing is pretty critted. His engine is critted. Although he has ammo. But I don't think he's ever going to get the opportunity to fire any more rounds off. I mean, it must have been, what, 2-3 minutes since he fired a shell? Probably even longer than that. I'm not even too sure how long this match has been going for. Or this round, should I say. As I said, guys, being simulator, you have to remember that these pilots are going to find it difficult to shoot and find each other. So you know, these are very skilled pilots. They have fought a lot of people, and they are playing in the hardest game mode. And as I said, the Yak is a pretty tanky plane. He definitely doesn't want to go down. I really do want to know how much ammo Sony has left. I've got a feeling it's either close to none, by the way he's flying. He's definitely out of cannon rounds. There is no doubt about that. He hasn't fired a cannon in 2 or 3 minutes. And I mean, there was no shots fired there, so I mean, he can't. I understand that Sony can't run away. There's no way for them to reload or repair. So I honestly do not know how many rounds he has left in his plane. But I mean, you can just see he comes in quite close and then just flies away. That could be because he's out of ammo. Could be because he doesn't want to, you know, he's low on ammo and he doesn't want to waste it. I gotta say that if there is a time for Mobius to do something crazy, it is to try and head this plane back on. Try and turn. And to try and get a head on. There he is. I mean, this plane is just so critted, I just don't think he's going to be able to turn. Here we go. Sony going to fire any rounds? Nope. Poor Mobius. I do feel like he's just being played with at this point. I kind of want to know what he's thinking. I kind of want to know what Sony's thinking too. Or Mobius must just be like, oh, when is he going to kill me? When is the end coming? And Sony's just like, man, I hope he doesn't figure out that I've run out of ammo. This would get rather embarrassing. So I honestly also don't know what airworthy counts as. I mean, both planes are in the air and flyable, so, I mean, even though his Mobius isn't going to be able to dogfight, it's still in the air, so I would class that as airworthy. I mean, at this point, we are just going in circles. There is a time limit. 345 minutes. You gotta remember, guys, that this is a simulator, so both pilots are gonna have a very tricky time at aiming at each other. So I can understand that Sony doesn't want to waste what precious little rounds he has left. He probably knows that the engine of Mobius is got to die soon. Mobius's engine must be critically damaged. It must be either red or black. So I can understand his resilience to want to waste all of his ammo. But at the same time, could those extra few rounds potentially put the plane on fire and kill it? I mean, he keeps lining up the shot. I mean, Mobius is just, looks like he's just given up at this point and just gone, just shoot me down. But he's not, that plane definitely doesn't want to die. I'm just waiting for the engine just to start, you know, gargling and just dying. Here comes Sony again. Alright, Mobius is dead straight. He is not even moving. Come on, Sony. Sony. Come on, Sony. Come on, Sony. At this point, Mobius is just completely straight. He's listing lazily to the left. As we have discussed, if Sony doesn't have any ammo, I mean, then I would say that there would need to be a restart. But Mobius still technically has ammo. So Mobius would need to expel all of his ammo, which potentially isn't too difficult. He just holds the trigger down. So as I did say, guys, there are situations where simulation games can go on for a long time. And this is one of those instances. It's just how the beast goes. You know, this is a lot harder. Sony obviously just sprayed a little too much. I did comment on that, so... I mean, obviously he's not listening, so he doesn't know that he's obviously... I mean, I changed the chat and nothing has been said. If anything was to have been said, guys, it would go orange. I would look at it instantly. So don't worry, guys, nothing in... The Arbiters have not said anything about a restart or what the current situation is. I'm not gonna lie, this is where Mobius does some absolute crazy, like, he somehow manages to hide in the cloudless air. Manages to dive on him and kill him. That would be pretty interesting, right? That'd be a pretty good comeback. Especially with the current state of his plane being pretty damaged. I'm not gonna lie, but if Sony has like one round left, that is gonna be pretty BM. I mean, this just goes to show just how resilient the Yak really is. I don't think even Mobius having a fuel leak would affect it that much. That might also be why his engine doesn't sound so as powerful. He could have throttled down to try and save fuel, but even then, you know, I don't think a fuel leak would really matter that much. I mean, you can hear the difference between the two engines. The fuel leak could have stopped. Sony. Will Sony bite this time? Haha. I'm pretty sure Mobius is probably sitting in there going, yeah, can we have a restart? And poor Sony's like, no, 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 I got him. I'm going to kill him. I can just imagine that situation going on. I'll get him, guys, don't worry. I'll shoot him. Give me a minute. Lining up the perfect shot. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Nope. Sonny, sorry. I'll just call them Wolfe and Mobius. I mean Wolfe and NBSI from now on. That way I can't get anybody's name wrong, right? Sorry. I mean, maybe it's the love heart on his wing that's keeping the plane going. Yeah, this is where when the you know, the open cockpits happen and people can get pistols. Obviously, the pistol bit is not even happening, but I'm sure there have been a lot of comments on Facebook with situations like this happening, going, yeah, we'll just get cockpits and we'll start shooting pistols at each other and throwing shoes at each other. Yes, yes, that will be the day, right? Ah, see, which chat now agrees. Needs more pistols. I'm not gonna lie, if the NBSI put aerobatic smoke on right now, that'd be pretty BM. I'm not gonna lie. Sonny again deciding that he doesn't want to shoot Mobius, which is fine, you know. We're, you know, a nice dancing. They're very nice. It's unfortunate that obviously this is, you know, simulation are realistic and they can't reload, huh? Mobius using flaps to obviously help keep control of the plane. At least Mobius is finally pulling away from Sonny. So maybe we'll see Mobius spin around and shoot some 20mm at Sonny. Give some payback. Oh, we got a bit of a ghost cap going on. Hello, what was that? Oh, is he going to go cap the point? Nope. I have no idea what he's doing. He's just flying. He's just practicing. I don't think fuel is their biggest, their biggest thought when doing this. I mean, obviously there was some kind of leak on Mobius's plane. I believed it to be coolant rather than fuel. So I believe that the engine is obviously overheating. But I'm surprised it's still flying after all this time. But yes, if it was a fuel leak and he's trying to save on fuel and he's throttled down and, Sonny has been at 100% throttle this entire time, then yes, there is going to be a rather large difference in who's got more fuel. But I really don't think it's going to come down to who has more fuel than the other. I really do feel like if one of them's run out of ammo, either he needs to ram or or the other guy needs to start shooting. One of the two. So I'm not even sure how long this battle's been going on for at this point. I mean, it's just that unfortunate situation where one guy is just so damaged that he can't do anything, and the other guy has run out of ammo. It's just one of those situations. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, that's just the name of the game when it comes to simulator. Especially in these kinds of situations. There are no airfields, guys. Is it me or is he turning off the engine? Or throttling down? I feel like the engine is overheated. There is for no reason why he should be throttling down. Uh-oh. Could this be the end? Has the engine finally died? Is it gonna splutter its last splutter? Or is he just making it look like it? Waiting for him to throttle back up again. Oh, Mobius, don't go down like this. You spent half an hour flying around in a circle. You can't go down like this, Mobius. Ram him. Oh no. No, Mobius. No, Mobius, not like this. Not like this, Mobius. And we're going to see the return of the lumberjack. Hey. Oh, man. I'm not going to say, not the most exciting ending, but we finally have our victor, and that is Sonny. So Sonny and the Wolfe team will be taking the first point. Now we're on to the 2v2s. That might be the longest War Thunder simulator game I have ever seen. You gotta give it to the Yak to at least stay in the air for that long, huh? I do have to say, I mean, while we were all talking about restarts, seeing as though the engine did eventually die, I am kind of glad that they didn't start. Otherwise, it would have been a little unfair for Sonny. There we go, guys. We're now on to the 2v2s, and the 2v2s are pretty much exactly the same as the 1v1s. Other than the fact they are allowed to go head-on with each other. The 2v2s are worth 2 points. Here we go, guys. A brand new match. Or a brand new round, sorry. This is still NBSI versus Wolfe. This is Simulator. We are now on to the 2v2s. Which again, are basically exactly the same, other than there are now, you know, 2 planes versus 2 planes, and they can go head-on with each other. It's very rare to see the planes go head-on with each other. You know, you don't want to give the same advantage to your opponent. But we have seen it happen, so... And yes, they will be using the exact same plane throughout the entire tournament, the entire match. That was voted on at the beginning of the game. We're currently watching Mickelson and Exel versus Mohiga and Hanzo Hattori. Now what I do like about the 2v2s is there are quite a few different ways you can do it. You can do what I like to call the conga line, which is where you have somebody on, you know, one of the teams be bait, and everybody kind of just follows in line. Or you can have the 2v1 version, where you risk the fact that there is somebody on your tail, but you help out your teammate and go for the same person at the same time. Right now it just looks like they're going for the third option, which is having 2 separate 1v1s. As we can see Mohiga of Exel. Hanzo coming in to help. Doesn't get any kind of shots off, unfortunately. I feel like in the 2v2s, you do need to try and concentrate on one person. I know that there will be somebody chasing you, and that's easier said than done. But a 2v1 is a 2v1. It would be much easier to handle. Not to mention, even if your plane gets slightly damaged in the process, there is still 2 planes versus 1 at the end of it. So risk a little bit of damage to potentially take out your opponent's plane while he's in a really easy, or in a stall essentially. Oh, Mohiga got some damage off on Exel. Again, I believe that's the fuel tank. The same kind of damage that happened where to Mobius in the last game. Doesn't look like there's any real damage to the wing or the fuselage. Maybe it's just a few hits, bit of light damage. Exel, whoopsie daisy, he went into the mountain. I don't think that he was seriously critted. I think he just, by mistake, flew into the mountain. He didn't realize where he was, and he kind of just flew in. I don't think that's due to damage of his plane. But now we can see that there's a nice 2v1 for NBSI. Some very nice shots. And a very nice quick game. So NBSI will be taking the first point. If they can win the second 2v2, they will take that round. And the 2v2 is worth 2 points. I would say the engine died, but it doesn't seem to be like any kind of crit happened. I feel like if the engine was seriously damaged, it would have said a crit. Like you see here.
We have captured a zone. Victory is ours. Let's go home.
Alright then guys, let's move on to the second 2v2. You can see that they have quite a lot of reserves and backup people. So we've got Sonny and Flinks versus Mobius and Orkaneko. I don't believe he was in a 1v1. I believe it was somebody else for NBSI who was in the 1v1. But anyways, they've decided to slightly change up their team. Now just waiting for the arbiter to start the game. So if Mobius wins this second 2v2, it will be 2-1 in points. If Wolfe wins this round, it will be another tiebreaker, and they will go up against a third 2v2. So if Wolfie wins the next 2 in a row, it will be 3-0. Sorry, 0-3 to Wolfie. If Mobius wins this round, it will be 2-1. Again, guys, this is Simulator. So you have to remember that they are in cockpit. It's very difficult to see. They are using the Yak 1. Warrington deciding to not go for the Love Heart on the left wing, but instead deciding to go for the Snowflake. Here we go, guys, the start of the 2v2. Again, they do not need to cross over. They can just go straight for head-ons if they choose to. A tactic we don't often see. Unless the player is very confident in the plane they are flying. So maybe he's choosing to fly a little bit further out. He's probably going to swoop in and go for a dive on somebody who's going rather slowly. Potentially while somebody's climbing and or stalling out, or doing a maneuver against his, with his teammate. Just somewhere around there. And we hear Sonny wants to repeat what happened last game and try and shoot down Mobius. No shots fired, just let it, yeah, it seems. Oh, there we go. Shots fired. He needs to be careful not to spray. The Yak doesn't have a lot of ammo. We saw what happened to Sonny in the last game, so we don't want to have a repeat. Now, what I would like to say is War, right now follow Sony. I really want to see a 2v1, because right now you can see that he is distracted by the fact that he is fighting Mobius, and I feel like the risk of potentially being shot at, I'm not really... I mean, he's in a great position. I mean, Flinks isn't going to be able to truly help out Sonny for a little bit, but I feel like Warrington really needs to dive and get that 2v1 to take out Sonny. Because I mean, you have a teammate, and you need to use your teammates to an advantage to make those 2v1s happen. I mean, even Mobius right now. Oh no, Mobius is pretty critted. I mean, it might not be any kind of serious damage, but it does look like it's quite considerable. The plane doesn't look too. I mean, it looks pretty worse for wear, but it doesn't look like it's performing too badly. They're probably all just like lightly damaged. So again, this is where I feel like War needs to have helped out to help out Mobius, because now they're too far away. Sonny, it's Sonny. I'm sorry. The names move so quickly. Where is Mobius right now? I mean, and they're also flying further and further away from each other, making it even harder for the two pairs to help each other out. I mean, I understand this is a simulator, so it's very, very difficult to be able to see people and to be able to see teammates and to see the enemy. So I know what I'm saying, you know, it's easier said than done. But I really do feel like teams need to start looking for, rather than these separate 1v1s. I mean, War looks like he's starting to run out of ammo. I mean, now he's using machine gun rounds. Is Flinks going down? Is Flinks going down? Mobius, there we go. See, Mobius comes in for a quick few shots. Flinks using stealth rounds. Is Flinks going to be able to pull out? Looks like he's going to be fine. But did you see Mobius finally comes in, gets a few hits, and now it's a 2v1. Doesn't matter how damaged Mobius is, it is now a 2v1. He didn't even damage him, he just literally just crashed. I mean, Sonny now does really have a very large height advantage. He's going to be able to just start booming and zooming, but it is now a 2v1. If he dives on one of them, the other one can climb, vice versa. They can start climbing towards Sonny. I mean, they're probably right now trying to find out where he is. I think that's him. Mobius right now taking a little bit of heat. Now this is interesting. Is he trying to cap? I don't think that works. I mean, I'm sure it would have started capping by now, right? But I mean, he's also far away, so he's going to probably start climbing anyways. He just wanted to probably get away, so Sonny didn't know that he was climbing. So Mobius is basically just being a distraction. Oh no, it is working. Oh, No, I think he's just climbing. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any damage to the plane. I mean, that plane doesn't look... It looks more like Swiss cheese than a plane. Sonny has now figured out that he's been following the wrong individual. He's now flying as fast as the little plane can carry him to try and find Warrington. Sorry, not Warrington. Wakanako. And this is just it. In a 2v1, they've got such a massive advantage. One of them can keep eyes on the other guy while the other one's climbing. One of them can be a distraction, tank a few shells while the other one gets behind. Force one of the opponents to go into a maneuver that, you know, stalls him out, so the other guy can just come in, you know, one-shot him. I mean, there's such a massive advantage to just instantly taking out one of your opponents. And we're about to really see that true advantage with Mobius now coming in. While his plane is rather damaged, I mean, he can just sit on the tail of Sonny and force him to either do something silly or to just try and dodge Mobius. Because if Mobius is obviously shooting at him, Sonny needs to do something to stop Mobius from shooting at him. And that could be all he needs to get, you know, his teammate into a really easy situation. Into a much better position to kill Sonny. Although I feel like Sonny is having none of this at this time and just really wants to kill Warrington. Or Kaneko. He's gone. Mobius looks pretty damaged. I think I'm going for the guy who isn't damaged, which is a, you know, the perfect tactic. I mean, I don't really feel like going for Mobius gives him much of an advantage, but being able to shoot and damage the other NBSI plane really, really will help him out. And he definitely doesn't want to spam those rounds again. Walk doesn't want to repeat history and do what Sonny did and decide that shooting all your rounds at the beginning and then having to wait 30 minutes before the engine dies is probably not the best tactic. Uh-oh, Mobius' engine has died. So now it is a 1v1. But Mobius wants to try and help as much as possible. Maybe Sonny doesn't know. Oh no. It is now a 1v1. I mean, not quite yet, but given the fact that Mobius' engine is dead, I'm gonna say he's pretty much out of the fight. If he gets the kill now, I'll be very, very impressed. Poor Mobius. At least his engine died a little bit fast this time. And now we're in a 1v1 situation. I feel like War really needs to get those flaps working. Try and get any kind of lift and turn advantage. Being in identical planes, because you can hear Sonny really using those flaps, really trying to get every little bit of lift, earning power as you can. I mean, yes, it does obviously lose a lot of speed, but when you're in identical planes and running away really isn't that much of an option. You need to use whatever advantage you can. And I feel like not using any flaps might put Wakanako into a bit of a disadvantage. Is Mobius still flying? Or Mobius definitely does not want to die. Although he's pretty useless at this point. Oh, there we go. Plane has finally gone down. So basically, whoever wins this will either become a tiebreaker scenario and we'll have to watch another 2v2, or we'll move into the 4v4. All comes down to who wins this duel. But like Sonny is doing a very good job of keeping Wakanako off his tail. Being able to get any kind of shot off. Because in the Yak, I feel like one shot is all you need. You can get the perfect round. Be a nice easy pilot snipe. I've also got to say they're getting rather close to this mountain and the water. Probably the closest to the ground we've really been. I feel like when you're flying in simulator, you don't want to be this close to the ground because being able to see the ground is rather difficult. I mean, I'm not too sure what happened to Flinks. Right at the beginning there, he did crash, but for what reason, I do not know. Maybe his engine was damaged. Maybe there was his elevator that was damaged and he just couldn't pull up, but he definitely flew in the wrong direction and hit a tree. So this is what happens, guys, when you're in identical planes and neither plane really has a turn advantage. Kind of get like an endless loop. Again, I'm sure if this was RB, obviously the game would be over a little bit faster because each opponent, each pilot would be able to have a much easier time of seeing what was going on, make a decision. Obviously, being simulator, it's very difficult to be able to tell what your opponent is doing, so you have to keep constant eyes on them. Doing that whilst turning all at the same time. Whilst trying to think about what you need to do, whilst trying to control your flaps. There's a lot to do. Again, I really do feel like Wakanako should be using flaps a lot more. I mean, I'm sure if we look at Sonny, I'm sure he'll be using, and he's always had combat flaps down. I'm not gonna lie, I am waiting for somebody to hit the mountain. Not paying attention. Turning circle goes a little bit skewy. I mean, you've got to appreciate that neither guy wants to make the first move, because the first move could be the mistake. Here we go. Sonny. It did try to get on Wakanako's tail, and it looks like it didn't go very well. How can Wakanako take the advantage, dive onto Sonny, and get a few hits off? Flaps, maybe? No, no. Nope, not a chance. Almost lost control of the aircraft there. At least War now has a nice height advantage on Sonny. But what can he do with this height advantage? Some more dancing. So again, these guys are rather close to the water and the mountains. Unlike on the other map where it's kind of flat. Much easier to sort of dodge the terrain. These guys, obviously being solo, need to keep that into consideration. And with them being with them being in simulator, trying to probably watch where their opponent is, and then also trying to watch where the terrain is rather difficult. At least in RB, where you have a third-person perspective, you get a much easier time viewing where the terrain is. Watching with this simulator, they do not have such a luxury. Again, I feel like Sonny is going to be using combat flaps. No, he's even using landing flaps. He's gone all out. Uh-oh. There's water. But he's using landing flaps to get as much lift and turning potential as possible. And I feel like that's what War is really missing out on. I mean, also at the same time, he's not also hitting the ground. Here we go. He's getting right behind him. Please don't ram. Oh no! Ooh. Is Sonny gonna hold on? Uh-oh. There's a lot of water. Can he pull up? Gonna be close. Yeah, nice and easy. I don't know why I tried to make that sound even more intense, but... Please don't ram. Oh my god, is he out of ammo? Is War out of ammo? Are we going to see a very similar to the Mobius game last game? We're going to see him swoop in, try and get a few shots on. Or look like he's going to get a few shots on, then it doesn't. Uh-oh. We're in for a long game here, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. He's trying to ram him. He must be out of ammo. Now the mighty Yak can survive rams. I'm sure we've all seen it happen, but trying to ram in the identical plane can be difficult. Ooh! Spin. More spins. Lots of spins. So now we've got the complete opposite situation where Sonny has quite a nice lot of ammo and is now on the tail of Orc and Echo. Using those combat flaps to get as much lift and turn as possible. Get a little bit more. There we go, using those, I presume, takeoff flaps because they're a little bit lower than combat flaps. Those are like landing flaps at that. Trying to stop Sonny from getting on his tail. I mean, it would have been nice to have seen the ram. We do normally see a nice few lot of rams, especially in Simulator. I mean, we've seen rams into the ground, but we haven't seen a ram into two different planes. We did see it yesterday. Can we make it 2 for 2? Uh-oh. I feel like Sony had a nice shot there. Oh. Again, he can't spray and pray either because he's running out of ammo. Uh-oh. We're not going to have the same situation as before, are we? Starting to run out of ammo. In terms of fuel, they should have around 20 minutes. Whatever the lowest fuel setting for the plane is. I believe for the Yak, that is 20 minutes. Obviously, I believe you can take more if you want to, but I believe they're probably carrying 20 minutes. Obviously, adding fuel obviously adds weight to the... When you're trying to get every advantage you can out of your plane, extra weight. Bit of a bit of a silly thing to do. So again, I also feel like Sonny is about to run out of ammo. I mean, he did stop firing cannons a second ago. Here we go, he's lining up the shot. Does he have any rounds left? Lining them up. Lining them up. No shots fired? No shots fired. I would like to correct myself and say that the Yak holds 30 minutes of fuel. Guys, do remember this is a simulator and it is a lot harder to be able to shoot people. If this was realistic or arcade, I'm sure we would be seeing kills all over the place. You gotta remember that this does take a lot higher skill. And I'm sure that there are a lot of simulator pilots out there that have been in a situation similar to this, where they've been close to low on ammo, trying to get that kill, and it has taken them a long time to probably get the kill. So we do need to obviously take that into consideration. That this is most definitely not as easy as it looks. These guys are doing a phenomenal job of trying to keep each other off each other's tail, trying to stop each other from shooting each other. As somebody said earlier, the recovery of the NBSI player coming out of that spin could and would have killed a lot of other players. So again, Sonny running out of ammo for the second match in a row. You'd have thought he would have learned from the 1v1 that he probably shouldn't be spraying and praying. I really do think that War is just trying to make him run out of ammo at this point. Now we're just seeing War, I guess, trying to run and trying to use some kind of momentum to try and get behind Sonny. I don't think I'm going to get his name right, guys. I'm very sorry. Sonny and Sony are just too close together. My brain just doesn't see the two ends. But I do feel that if Ward did just get behind Sonny, he would just try and ram him and then would get into the same situation. One of them is going to try and ram into the other one, or... I mean, they could just tie it up. But this is more important for Wolfe to win than it is for NBSI. NBSI did win the first 2v2. So it is down to, obviously, the Wolfe team to get the victory here. To be able to tie it up. even be able to get the third 1v. I mean, it does look like, I've just noticed that the NBSI player's plane is actually pretty damaged. Actually didn't notice the damage before. I don't think that was recent. But does Sonny's look? Sonny have a hole in his? Doesn't look like it. So yeah guys, these guys aren't allowed to land, by the way. I also want to clarify that. They can't land on a runway, there is no magical runway on this map. They can just land on and reload and rearm and then fly out again. Not to mention with the two players being so close to each other, if one of them was going to land, the other one would probably just snipe him while he was on the runway. So and while you could say the AAA would potentially help, you're just throwing RNG into them. And nobody likes RNG. So back to the nice dancing. It would be nice if these two players would put aerobatic smoke on. At least then we'd see some nice fancy colours. And again, guys, these are some of the best simulator, pilots. I mean, they've gone up against 50 other teams. Even more than that, probably 100 different teams. I must say that the games yesterday did not happen quite like this. They were rather close, but they weren't as long. I do not. I mean, obviously, with the pilots being so good, being able to dodge each other, this might be why the games have gone on for so long. So yeah, once again, the score is currently NBSI 0, Wolfe 1, and in the 2v2, NBSI is up 1 point to Wolfe's 0. So if Wolfe do manage to win this round, it will tie it up, and there will be a third 2v2 duel. If NBSI wins, it will go to the 4v4, and the score will be NBSI 2, Wolfe 1. So it all comes down to who wins this duel. I do wish that there was an ammo counter for this instance. To know how much ammo Sonny has left would be nice. Or even, Walk and Echo. Sounds like both players have turned off their engine. Throttle down. Oh, don't tell me they've run out of fuel. Don't tell me they've run out of fuel. That's just going to get silly. I didn't think the game had gone on this long. I mean, if there's anybody out there that would like to count the rounds, they are more than welcome to do so. Uh-oh. Yeah, they must be close to running out of fuel, because... What is this? Uh-oh. Did Sonny save just a little bit of fuel just for this instance? Who's gonna hit the water first? Here we go. Bloop. So once again, not the most, you know, crazy, flame-inducing endings that we're used to, but we have our winner, and that is once again Sonny, who proves that he has more endurance than anybody else, being able to survive now 20+ matches, 2 games in a row. This man has some endurance. Being able to run out of ammo and manage to keep enough fuel in the tank to out-survive his opponent. There we go, guys. That now ties up the 2v2s. So there will now be a deciding 2v2 to decide who takes the 2 points. Guys, as we just wait for the 2 teams to get their teams readied up. So it looks like it's going to be Murahiga and Hanzo Hattori versus Flinks and Sunny Bite for the deciding 2v2. By the way, guys, if anybody's interested, this game has gone on for 2 hours so far. 2 hours! This might be the longest simulation game I've ever been a part of. This game has gone on for so long that there might have been another simulator game that happened in between this game. That is how long this game has happened. Scream might even be home by this time, and could help commentate for the rest of the game. Oh, he's not home yet. I know he is coming home soon. Hey-ho. Alright, so are we going to see, once again, Sonny be able to outlast every one of his opponents? Is he going to spray and pray at the beginning, waste all his rounds, and then wait until the guy runs out of fuel? That is what we're going to watch. We're going to watch Sonny spray all his rounds. That is what we're going to do today for this round. This is obviously the deciding 2v2, guys. Whoever wins this will take the 2 points. Then we will move into the 4v4. So the question is on who is going to get the first shots off. Just get the battle log up, so that way it happens with other 1v1 that is happening. Oh my lord. Hanzo. Oh, somebody is set on fire. Blinks is on fire. Murahiga. I don't really feel like he needs to waste ammo. He could just leave. There we go. Now he can definitely leave him alone. I don't think that plane is going to carry on. So Murahiga is going to quickly fly to the aid of his teammate. I would, there we go. I was about to say I'm not surprised if Hanzo was going to pop smoke, so that way it's easier for Mohiga to see where they are. Let's see if we can see him. There we go. Popping that smoke to be able to let his ally know where he is. So now it is a nice easy 2v1. Neither NBSI members are injured. Sonny now needs to kill or crit someone quickly. Preferably not ram into someone. I feel like Hanzo can now turn the smoke off. It's very pretty and all, but... Uh-oh. Sonny manages to regain control of his aircraft. It looks like his left aileron is critted. I don't think he... Ooh, can he pull up? Oh, almost. Oh, now he's on fire. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the fastest 2v2 we've had all day. Ugh. So that means that NBSI takes 2 points out of this one. That means that the 4v4 cannot end up in a tiebreaker. So that means that whoever wins the 4v4 will go through to the next round. So it is now NBSI 2, Wolfe 1. Final round is worth 3 points. And that is the 4v4. Normally the most fun to watch because lots of things happen rather quickly. Lots of people set on fire and explode. That's normally where the most exciting part happens. Although I will say that was rather quick. Some very nice flying there from the NBSI guys, using smoke to be able to let show where each other were. And we didn't see anybody run out of ammo. That's always good to see, right? So now, guys, we're going to see the 4v4. We can see the teams readying up now. Oh, we're going to have a 5-minute break, ladies and gentlemen. So while we have a 5-minute break, I will quickly play the video of our sponsors.
Meet the Rocket Tyon, featuring the brand new Rocket Accelerator analog thumb paddle, giving you unrivaled command capabilities. The new Rocket Fin switch, letting you execute multiple maneuvers at the same time. 4 ergonomic top buttons, instinctively placed so that you can hunt for prey, not for buttons. Meet the new standard in gaming mouse control.
There we go, guys. The guys who are sponsoring the Gladiator Super Cup, Procat and Cytec. So I see people asking about smoke and says that we have a 5-minute break. I think I can get to options. No, I can't get to options here. You go to options, and I think it's one of the first 2 or 3 settings down called aerobatic smoke. The default is white. You can change it to blue, magenta, yellow, dark blue, light blue, all kinds of colours. Lots of different blues. But yeah, guys, the next and final round will be the 4v4. This is NBSI versus Wolfe. It is simulator. So obviously the poor guys have to sit in cockpit. So guys, after watching the game so far, I saw a lot of people at the beginning of the stream were in support of the Wolfe team. Is that still the case after watching the game so far? Do we have any NBSI supporters out there? Who is everybody rooting for? Here we go, guys. 5-minute break looks like it's over. I think. Thought somebody just typed in chat saying, let's go, ready up. But people are at least readying up, so might be soon. Remember, guys, that this is a simulator mode, so it is much harder than obviously realistic or arcade. These poor guys do have to sit in cockpit view. NBSI was undefeated in the lead up to this Super Cup. They won the West side with 0 losses. Obviously, they lost a few points along the way, but they are undefeated going into this tournament. Just a quick recap on how the planes are chosen. There is a list of 9 planes. I will get the list of the 9 planes for night stream. We will be streaming another game, but there is a list of essentially 9 planes. And the team captains essentially veto the planes they do not want to fly until they have 1 plane left, and that is what that's the plane that both teams will fly for the entire game. There are 2 Russian planes. Japanese, a British, 2 American. No, there's 3 Russian planes. British, 3 German planes, 2 German planes, Japanese, and 2 American. I do not know how the planes are originally chosen. I don't know where the 9 list of planes have been, originally came from. I do know that there is a list of 9. There we go, guys. Everybody is now ready up. Just waiting for the arbiter to say go. We'll be getting into the final round of the day, the 4v4. This could not end up in a draw, seeing as though this round is worth 3 points. Whoever wins this will go through to the next round. There we go, guys. The 4v4, just like the 2v2, they can head on. They don't need to do any fancy passing. They can just get straight to the combat. For anybody who watched the other tournaments, what is also nice about this map is that people can't spawn in the wrong place. There is only 1 spawn point on this map, and if people remember, a lot of people made mistakes when doing spawn. There we go, guys. The 4v4 has now begun. NBSI seems to be splitting into 2 2v2s. The Wolfe team seems to be a little bit more clustered together. They are now splitting up. Who will get the first kill? Who will get the first shots off? Get the battle log up so that way we can see if anybody is set on fire. Critted. Right now we're on Hanzo. Can he get a few hits on Axel? No. That's a bit of a shame. Oh, we see some critical damage. Sonny, the man who has managed to stay up the longest in this fight, seems to be the first one to go down in the 4v4. Looking very good for NBSI at the moment. They seem to have critted somebody else. Oh no, that's just Sonny being shot down. Mistake. It looks like Flinks is on the tail of Mobius. He doesn't look like he got any kind of critical damage on. Some smoke being popped to allow people to know where other people are. Probably to inform that he's going after someone or he needs assistance. It is a very useful tool. And if you watch more of the games, especially in Simulator, you will see a lot more teams using smoke. We saw it in the last round, and now we've seen it here. It is a very useful tool. It is not to sort of be BM. Try and look fancy. So we can see that poor Megalson is being chased by essentially 3 dudes. He's about to have a very, very bad time. Oh, a ram. Who was that? Flinks and Henzo Hattori. I'm glad we managed to see 1 ram in this game. And it also looks like Megalson was shot down by Mobius. So now it is Exel all on his lonesome. It is 3-on-1. And he also seems to have fuel leaking from his plane. Oh no. That looks like to be the end of the Wolfe team. Can he pull up? No. Well guys, a very, very, very quick 4v4. And that is the end. NBSI will gain 3 points from that, making the final scores 5-1. So congratulations to NBSI.
The enemy has captured a zone.
Commiserations to the Wolfe.
We suffered a defeat. Head back to base.
Well guys, I do hope that despite the games, some of the games were rather long, I do hope that you enjoyed the stream today. We will be covering 1 more match later this evening. So I do hope that you will come back and watch that game. But again, congratulations to the NBSI team winning 5-1. Commiserations to the Wolfe team. It was a very, very close game. Especially with the 2v2s. I did think Wolfe were going to win the 2v2s. Forcing NBSI to have to win the 4v4 and make a comeback. But it was not to be. NBSI managed to pull it out the bag in the 2v2. And managed to bring the victory. So guys, that means that NBSI is now through to the next round. Yes guys, once again, I do hope that you enjoyed the stream, and I do hope that you will follow the War Thunder Twitch channel. Be able to see the game later on. Now guys, I do hope you enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you guys later.